Joker!
Hello, Betsy. If you want to save your caped idiots, you have to choose Batgirl or Robin.
Joker, is that a nanobomb?
So you've noticed.
And is that an Iron Maiden powered by Omega Beams? Joker, how the hell did you do this?
I did take some night classes at Arkham.
You were there for like a week. I mean, this is impressive engineering. I'm not even sure Star Labs can do this. Not to mention the chemistry knowledge. I mean,
Batman, help!
in a minute, I'm taking notes for Lucius. We gotta make some upgrades to the Batjet.
Yes, you do. That dinosaur hasn't caught me in years.
We're gonna die.
Tell me about it.
How does a failed comedian become the ambassador of Iran? You gotta love comics. But seriously, Joker has come a long way. This dude simply used to be a prankster, someone who enjoyed messing with Batman even if it got dangerous or deadly. Slowly became more and more formidable and sinister, then he became sociopathic and clinically insane, among so many other things. All these changes came with some insane plot armor. You have a man who is built like a pool stick being able to fight to one of the best martial artists, and more often than you think, win. Somewhere along the way, Joker lost that goofy charm that made him funny and interesting to read, and instead is more like a reject Dexter villain. It's all edge, little substance. Now, we spoke about Batwing before and Batman's insane plot armor, and a lot of you mentioned I should make a video on Joker. I will warn you now, Joker's plot armor is even worse.
Haha, Batman. I'll press the switch on the time viewer, which will show me in the future, and without doubt, it will show us madly in love.
No, Joker, don't do it!
What the fuck happened to me?
Why am I turned on?
Now, Joker has slowly become edgier and edgier over time, but I want to go over my ideal Joker, then go over all of his insane feats. Before I do that, let me tell you how I think his origin should be, because later on, we'll talk about a retcon that I am not the biggest fan of. Now, Joker is tricky. The more you learn about his backstory, the less mystique he has, the less cool he is. I think the ideal origin tells a quick and simple story. For example, when we think of Mr. Freeze, we just think of a scientist trying to save his sick wife and driven to crime to further his research. Now that's short and sweet and perfectly encapsulates what to expect from him. Another easy one is the Riddler, an abandoned child who suffered as an orphan. He finds his only respite in riddles. As he grows older, the riddles become more and more sinister. Very easy to understand. Now, for the most part, Joker's origin, as I understand it, and as I like it, is also pretty simple. A failed comedian turned criminal has an accident in Ace Chemicals, falling into a vat of acid and turning insane, then becoming the clown prince of crime. I like this origin. I think it's how most people think about Joker when they see him. But when you add to it, I think it detracts from the mystery. That mystery being why he is the way he is. Now, with that in mind, you'd think the Joker is simply a lunatic with a sixth sense of humor and a pretty large criminal enterprise, which is correct. However, because comics almost always have to raise the stakes, we add and add and add more and more and more onto his character description. Now, Joker has always been a strange character because most Batman villains pose a very real and obvious physical combat threat. Killer Croc has brute strength and those massive jaws, Ra's al Ghul is one of the greatest martial artists in the verse, and Bane is Bane. However, Joker, like some Batman villains, relies mostly on gadgets and good planning. Mr. Freeze with his ice gun, Firefly with his flamethrower, and the scariest weapon in Gotham, the Joker bomb. I would hate to die a death like this. Now this works well, things are balanced. A story with Killer Croc will have many panels of combat and resourceful moves, but someone like the Riddler is more about Batman using deduction and detective skills to figure out where he is. Joker is mostly like that, and in these stories, when the Riddler, Mr. Freeze, or Joker gets caught by Batman, the fight is usually pretty quick, given of course that these guys have very little combat expertise compared to Batman. However, for no good reason, Joker has slowly become more and more proficient in combat with no real explanation other than we'll mostly be looking at Scott Snyder's Batman 2011 run. Let's look at this page here. We have Nightwing, arguably the best member of the Bat family when it comes to, well, anything. Nightwing is my boy. There's no limit to the glaze. He has this fucking clown pinned to the ground, dead to rights, but Joker, being resourceful, takes advantage of a distraction and stabs Dick in the thigh. then kicking him off. Well, I think it's incredibly dumb to take your eyes off the Joker, the most deadly man in Gotham. I actually like this exchange. It shows that Joker wins fights by being dirty, resourceful, and using tricks. I like this. What I don't like is this. Here we have a page essentially designed to embarrass every Bat family member except Batman. Somehow Joker has defeated Batgirl, Damian, and Jason and Tim off screen. What I find insane is that Joker defeats Jason and Tim. I mean, do they not have anything in the utility belt to help them with the Joker gas? It's insane. Tim Drake is one of the best fighters in DC too. For him to not be able to think quickly and retaliate is just dumb. This is my problem with a lot of these big event books, is that they have to dumb down certain characters to let others shine, when instead they could create reasonable explanations for why they lost. Now, while I think this is insane, what I want to go over next is even crazier. Now, I want to reiterate, I like it when Joker wins fights by using tricks, fighting dirty, and deploying gadgets. While I think it's BS for him to single-handedly defeat the entire Bat family, I can suspend my disbelief for a moment and accept that perhaps there is an explanation there. This page does not get the same grace from me. Here we are in the GCPD, a police force that has been fighting the worst metahumans and supervillains in the DC universe. If you decide to sign up to be a cop in the same city Killer Croc lives in, you are a braver soul than I. Now, I know as a comic fans we have little respect for cops when it comes to combat, but you need to be able to have some skill in order to fight crime, especially in Gotham. So tell me why in this comic, Joker just waltzes into the GCPD without anybody else, and like a paranormal demon, he is able to take out every single cop in the building. I mean, how the fuck is this possible? How is some string bean clown with no formal combat training and more importantly, no powers able to waltz around this building at super speed and simply crack everybody's necks like it's no problem with one hand? This is no longer the same Joker. What happened to all the contraptions, the tricks, the planning, the elaborate pranks, and the jokes? What happened to all of that? Instead, this sequence feels way more like something you'd get out of Bane. I mean, breaking somebody's neck like it's a pencil requires some serious Venom level strength. So here we have a character who wants their cake and to eat it too. They want to be Bane and the Riddler, and it's greedy. Now, one thing about Joker I've always wondered about is his intellect. I mean, how does a failed comedian falling into a vat of acid make you a chemistry genius? So much so that you are able to create and recreate Joker gas immune to antidotes from common cleaning supplies. How does one become an explosives expert while locked up in Arkham? I mean, unless Joker is friends with Toyman, I don't get it. Furthermore, how does this man keep escaping Arkham? I know we joke about how useless their security is, but there is a real skill in escaping this facility when so many other rogues are not able to. I want to go over a few moments where Joker displays a strange amount of intelligence given his background and go over why I think it's bullshit. Now, I know I've been complaining a ton about Scott Snyder's 2011 run, but I did enjoy it. I just think it pushes Joker towards this extreme that makes him feel more otherworldly and paranormal and less real and raw. Let's look at this excerpt. Here we have Batman investigating, and he comes across this man he knew who worked at Arkham for a good while. As Batman investigates the cell, this man, Eric, shuts the door on him and we're confused. We think he's an ally, but of course, no. He says, "You don't recognize me, do you? I had to take these chemicals and relaxers for my face shape and pigment," and as he explains and wipes away the disguise, it is of course the Joker. Now, this twist was really cool when I was reading, but as I began to think about it more, I grew more irritated. Batman is the world's greatest detective, and he didn't figure out that this dude was Joker for what seems like years. Batman is able to catch people out on minuscule things like embezzlement or laundering, monitor employees at various organizations and catch them on mob ties, but the clown prince of crime gets away scot-free. Now, perhaps Joker really stuck to the bit and lived the life of your average Arkham employee, so even if Batman surveilled him, he wouldn't have anything. My issue is he doesn't really know this guy, but feels comfortable enough to stand in a cell cell, completely vulnerable. Batman sees the worst in people as paranoia is the defining trait, and I'm no world's greatest detective, but I would be a little anxious walking into a prison cell with electronic doors. However, the real problem, my biggest problem with this, is it makes Joker feel more methodical and less impulsive. And personally, I like it when Joker's impulsive. He should be a prankster, a jokester, okay? He should be a thrill seeker. When you make him this methodical genius, he starts to steal the swag of the Riddler or Hugo Strange or Ra's al Ghul. This one might be a reach, but let me know if you guys see what I mean. However, this one, we are all going to agree here, it is a small speech bubble, but it really irks me. So apparently, Joker hits the GCPD with their own weapon, and that's fine, I like that, there's a good joke there. However, what I don't like is how he did it. He's able to mod a pulse gun to amplify it beyond its normal range. Now this is where I draw a line. Joker is not a tech guy. Why are we just handing feats out like candy from all across the aisle? I would much rather have it where Joker gets the help of someone like the Riddler or a scientist perhaps, and he has them at gunpoint and they design him a weapon, like they used to do in the older comics, which we'll get into. Instead, this makes Joker out to be a fucking tech whiz. My question here is, where the hell did he learn this? Night classes at Arkham? Supervillain 101? I digress. Okay, this one is a little silly, but I honestly just wanted an excuse to talk about it. In this comic, we see Joker in a little wizard getup with a ritual-like sigil on the ground. He monologues about his plans, something about souls, it doesn't matter. The point is this dude is able to summon Etrigan. Fucking Etrigan. What the fuck is going on here, Joker? How the hell did you learn this? So not only is this dude as smart as the Riddler, a tech whiz like Toyman, but he's also able to do minor magic. I mean, how deep is this guy's bag? Now, I'll get to the real reason why Joker is getting all these feats later, but first allow me to talk about an insane feat. This ludicrous feat happens in A Death in the Family, a great comic by one of my favorite Batman writers, Jim Starlin. Even though Starlin liked to write a Batman who sometimes kills, I think his stories are phenomenal. Now, we all know the story. Joker becomes ambassador of Iran, Robin dies, his mom betrays him, etc, etc. What we overlook is the lead up to all of this, how Joker makes his way to the Middle East. Now, after Joker escapes Arkham, he comes to realize all of his assets and businesses are seized. He has basically nothing, except for one thing, a fucking cruise missile with a nuclear warhead. How the hell? Okay, apparently he does the classic Joker thing like he always does in these comics, which is scare someone into submission, which honestly I like. I prefer that rather than him sneaking into some military base like he's fucking Batman and taking it himself in a blaze of glory. Okay, so Joker's idea now is he needs to get some cash, so he sells the cruise missile to this terrorist group. And you might ask, how the hell does he get it over there? It's definitely not going to fit on the Joker plane. Well, Joker explains that he dismantles the weapon to get it across the ocean, then reassembles it in what appears to be perfect condition. Do you guys understand how insane this feat of engineering is? To be able to handle nuclear weaponry without a hitch, to take apart military-grade missiles and put it back together requires the skill of a dozen eggheads. Somehow, Joker is able to. Now, I'll say this, in this comic, and in a lot of comics I enjoy with the Joker, they don't try to make him out to be an edgelord Sigma male, which I think is important. However, over time, Joker has become more and more formidable, being able to control the Justice League and be a genuine threat to them, which I think defeats the whole purpose of Joker. He's supposed to be this mystery Batman can't crack, pure chaos, not a paranormal demon who's also a tech genius, who's also a magician, who's also a nuclear engineer. You get the point. As power creep continues, we see what is possibly my least favorite retcon for the Joker, which has just happened. Now, I understand a lot of people enjoy this Batman run, and I do too. It's just that I have a thing about ruining the mystery with Joker. This all starts with Batman 142 and Joker Year 1. We go through Joker's origin with more detail. I enjoy this for the most part, seeing the man Joker used to be. However, I think we run into some issues after his regular story gets altered a bit. So we all know about the Red Hood gang, using the vat of acid, the clown prince of crime. The big change is this random character, what is essentially another Tibetan monk, who is quote unquote the smartest man in the world, but honestly guys, they hand that shit out like it's nothing. He essentially mentors both Batman and then Joker, which makes me feel unsure. On one hand, I like the idea that this mentor guy is obsessed with pushing people past their limits even if they're evil. On the other hand, this turns Joker from a very unexplainable force of chaos into a very explainable reason for why he is the way he is. It ruins the mystery. I like his old origin because it always left you wondering what is wrong with this guy, but now we know there is a very normal and somewhat likable person inside of Joker's head, which now begs the question of if we're ever going to see that side of him again. I mean, if Joker trained to have a personality that we see today, then is the old one still in there? Now, I respect what Zdarsky is trying to do here in writing yet another Joker arc. There's only so much that can be done. It is admirable that he tries to weave in the 3 Jokers retcon, which no one liked, back into this modern story, and he explains it as 3 personalities his mentor helped him make. Honestly, I kinda hate that too. I mean, I get why we want to explain why Joker can feel so different, writer to writer, but that's just comics, deal with it. And there's no reason to try and change his character to be this DID Moon Knight type villain, where he has a very curable mental illness that he himself induced. Furthermore, I just want to say this. I fucking hate Zor and R. That shit is so fucking boring. I mean, that shit was far worse than Failsafe just being some AI. Now, I like some of Zdarsky's stuff, but this entire Joker retcon furthers the narrative that Joker isn't this unexplainable force of chaos, only motivated by pulling elaborate deadly pranks, but is instead this paranormal demon created from the same forces who made Batman. And it begs the question of why can't Batman fix Joker now, given that he is said to be the actual smartest man in the world. With all these insane additions to the Joker's character, he slowly turns from a clown prince of crime into a sociopathic god with face paint. Essentially, the Batman who laughs, and we all know how bad that idea is. So, with all of that, let me talk about my ideal Joker and all of his parts. I want to take us through time and browse the older comics, gleaming for what I think is my ideal Joker. Let's get really retro and go back to some classic Batman. Recently, I've been hitting the Benjamin and reading some Silver Age comics at night. I really recommend it. This shit is hilarious. Here we have Batman trying to subdue the Joker, but of course, Joker has some weird sci-fi gadget that turns him into a porcupine man. Then he says, "Ha, it seems that my quills have quelled your operation." That is objectively funny. You gotta hand it to Joker, man. He follows it up by saying this after he shoots quills at them. "I'm afraid my quills are making you quail." When's the last time you've seen Joker tell actual funny jokes, let alone puns? Here's a shorter section. Joker links up with these 2 goobers and gives them some evidence of his criminal nature. 2 gumballs he stole. Dastardly. They of course go like, "Joker is stealing gumballs? What is he, 8? Well, he is crazy." Then the Joker, without skipping a beat, says, "These are really rubber balls filled with onion juice," and he squeezes it into their eyes and runs away. I'm sorry, dude, that's fucking funny. If this was a modern Batman comic, it would have been the same old Joker gas and he would have killed them, then slowly walked away like a Sigma male. No smile, no jokes, nothing. Now, I'm not advocating for modern Joker to be exactly like this one, but lighten the fuck up a bit, make him funny. Okay, we talked about Joker having these insane combat feats against the entire Bat family, taking some of them out off screen, which is insane. However, what I liked about a lot of the older comics is Joker only ever fights Batman when he's able to catch him off guard, or in this excerpt, he is handicapped in some way, blinded, or stunned, or using fear gas, whatever it is. Joker should not be this insane martial artist able to go toe to toe with Batman. He should be a shifty guy willing to throw pocket sand in someone's eyes to win a fight. In this comic, Joker handicaps Batman, and that is the only way he can win. That's the way it should be. Another aspect I liked about the older comics is that they weren't afraid to introduce minor characters to explain the sci-fi craziness of their stories. If there was a ray that turned people into dinosaurs, there's a scientist who has created it. If there is a teleportation gun, some alien from another planet lost it here. There was a reasonable explanation for why some characters get weaponry that is outside of their skill set. Now, what I liked about the old Joker is all of his pranks are pulled with weird gadgets and gizmos, and for the most part, they are created by somebody else. He either forces them to make it, or he steals it. He's not some tech genius, or the world's greatest chemist, or a nuclear engineer. He is simply resourceful and has no inhibition. I like that. Now, let me skip ahead to a later comic that I think really encapsulates my perfect Joker. Here we have the story of Denny O'Neil's Batman, issue 251, and Joker's 5-Way Revenge, a great issue that had a fresh new take on Joker after a long hiatus of the fans and not seeing him. In this story, we see Joker has made his return. A new victim is dead with a smile on his face, and a Joker card. Batman tells Gordon this, and he leaves. He recognizes the first victim as one of Joker's former associates, and deduces that Joker is trying to get revenge on all of his former associates because simply one betrayed him, essentially ensuring that he will have revenge on whoever that was without sparing any innocents. So the story follows Batman trying to track down each former member, as there are 5, but now after the first death, there are 4 left. Batman tries to convince the second one to come with him, and just when they're about to coalesce, the second one dies after Joker poisons the water in his boxing gym. At the same time, Joker pulls a classic prank with the third one, giving him an exploding cigar. The fourth one dies after Batman attempts to lead him into police custody, but of course, he's more afraid of Batman and runs away, right into the Joker's deadly grasp. Now, up until this point, Joker's way of killing each of these men is very on brand. The laughing gas, the exploding cigar, the hanging is a bit lamer, but I'll take it. However, the last one is where things really get fun. Batman, flustered and upset after getting knocked out by the goon he was trying to save, he rushes into a room looking for the Joker, and he finds him. Joker hits him right on the back of his head, severely dazing him. Some time passes, and Batman again finds the Joker, and a chase ensues. Joker stops Batman in his tracks by showing him his plan. He has his last goon tied up above a tank of water, which contains a shark. So now Batman has to enter the cage to save the goon, but of course Joker tricks them and puts them both in there and skedaddles. Batman does what he does and escapes, saving the man. Batman is able to keep chasing the Joker and gets pretty close. And Joker says this: "You'll get a battle from me. I may be insane, but I'm not crazy." I love it. Ironically, the same oil-slicked beach Joker got the half-dead shark from, he slips on, letting himself get captured by Batman. Okay, this comic does a lot of good things in my mind. First and foremost, I appreciate how they play Joker as an antagonist around a character who is much more physically capable. Joker is quick, tricky, and has this elaborate plan set up to get each of his ex-goons. Batman's job in this comic is not to fistfight Joker for half the issue. It's instead to uncover his plan and to try to thwart it. Joker's line about not wanting to fight Batman is exactly how he should always feel. I mean, the only time he gets to land a shot on Batman is a sucker punch right to the back of the most sensitive part of your skull. Even that isn't enough to get Batman down for a long time. So this comic respects the huge gap between Batman and the Joker when it comes to combat. Furthermore, all of Joker's kills require little strength or technique. He poisons water, intimidates someone to smoke an exploding cigar, and traps a man inside a noose. Now, the thing I like the most about this comic is how well they balance Joker's lighthearted nature with his sadistic personality. I mean, he has funny lines here. He's actually telling jokes, and they're not as cheesy as the ones from before, but I still like them. Now, there might be better Joker comics out there, but I think this one and a lot of older Batman comics does a good job of balancing the scales in these stories. Oftentimes in modern modern comics, Batman has to face some paranormal god or army or something insane to create stakes. In this issue, Joker is intimidating, but he also has clear flaws. He's impulsive, braggadocious, and always prioritizes a good punchline. I mean, if Joker wanted to kill the last one, he could have done it way before Batman arrived. However, he needs to tell that joke. Danny O'Neill's Joker is a perfect mix of goofy, sociopathic, and a great planner. Joker can't fight well, he's simply strategic, and creates dangerous setups for deadly punchlines. I love it. Now, let's switch mediums and get into the most celebrated Joker adaptation in modern times. Heath Ledger played an entirely different Joker than I was used to, and he crushed it. When I heard about this film, I really wanted to see that Mark Hamill Joker, voice replicated by some flamboyantly evil character, but what we got instead was a pleasant surprise. Heath's Joker has all of my favorite traits in Joker. Outside of the style of comedy and attire that I like, his sense of humor is more situational and less wordplay. He's almost mocking the world to make himself laugh. This blends nicely with his character path. Furthermore, what I like about this Joker is some of the same stuff I liked about in the previous comic. He avoids fights with Batman and instead creates great daily setups for these sinister punchlines. Joker doesn't fight much in the movie, he instead just plans, and he's not some expert in chemistry or explosives, he just has these elaborate plans. Could they be more colorful, funnier, or more comedic? Sure. But I like that this Joker isn't some martial artist, he is a glass cannon, and that is what he should be. Now, I could make a video complaining on all the ways Nolan changed the Batman franchise, but I enjoy this film. To me, it is a Joker film, so I don't really think that I will, and I'll instead just pray that Gunn takes the classic approach with Batman and the Joker like he did with Superman. I just don't know what classic means to him. Overall, there is not one good Joker. There are many. In the medium of comics, characters change and grow, different writers accentuate different traits. They morph and mold their core identity to fit whatever story they're telling. So I won't be upset as long as it's good. All I want is a Joker who isn't some paranormal god, who can off-screen the Bat family, who somehow knows how to mod pulse cannons and reassemble nuclear warheads. I want a reasonable Joker, not one with all this goddamn plot armor. I should say this, Joker's plot armor is only there because he is a Batman villain. If he was a Green Arrow villain, he would be nowhere near as bullshit as he is now. Simply put, Jokerwank is a symptom of Batwank, not a new disease, and I hope DC gets better soon. Now, I'm thinking about making a Discord one of these days for all of us to discuss comics more. I know a lot of you have some very conflicting opinions with me, and some of y'all want certain videos to get made, but I think it would help if we had a shared space. Let me know if this idea sounds good to everyone. I might just wait until we get a little bigger, maybe 5k or 10k, but I appreciate all the love you guys have given me in the last few videos. Thank you, peace.